Sometimes just knowing that it's actually up to you and that you can shape this thing to your own preferences is the most freeing and empowering thing of all. You do not have to be hard on yourself for not doing XYZ the same way you perceive others in our field doing XYZ. You don't have to try to fit someone else's mold or shape. You don't have to drain your energy worrying if you are doing it right. And you don't have to force yourself to stick to something with an iron fist if what your soul really craves is a chance to pivot and evolve. It is one thing to feel inspired that flowers and creativity are meant to be a bigger part of your life, maybe even central to your career. But it's another thing entirely to know how to cut through the noise of what we think we should do, move through the fears and inhibitions that come up when we take steps into our truth, and find a clear path that actually feels authentic, exciting, and meaningful to you. Being inspired and full of ideas is an incredible feeling, but it also requires structure, support, and intentional action to come out of this dream state and into reality. Also, at times it can seem like there are a zillion paths you could take into flowers, but how do you know which one is right for you? And which step do you take first or next? Other times it may seem like there's only one right or real way to be a floral artist, and that can feel limiting, not to mention stifling to creativity and out of alignment. So how do you break free and create something out of your floral practice or your love of flowers that feels sustainable and fulfilling, even thrilling for you? Welcome to the Called to Bloom podcast. I'm Jen Cavender, founder of Nectar and Bloom, and your host as we explore the tools and holistic methods that empower you to craft an inspired career and a fulfilling creative life. I am a floral artist and educator who left an academic career to build my dream floral design studio. Now I empower flower lovers, florists, and creative entrepreneurs like you to find your aligned path and to build your dream. Together, we go deep into topics covering creative entrepreneurship, health and well-being, sustainability, personal transformation, the art and business of working with flowers, and practices for manifesting a life you love. If you are ready to feel inspired and empowered as you build your next aligned creative chapter, you are in the right place. Now, let's bloom. Often the most agonizing part of realizing that we need to make a big change in life or in our career is not knowing what change we need to make. The feeling of this is not it and I cannot do this anymore can be hugely motivating to start a new chapter, but we need to know what's next in order to begin. The best thing to do when this happens is to make space wherever you can to soul search, listen inwardly, journal, take a little vacation, sign up for a class that you're curious about in your free time. Search inside for what is calling to you that carries an air of excitement and curiosity. That is the path to follow. Now, let's say you've just been through one of those seasons, and what you have discovered is that what lights you up are flowers. Flowers bring you joy. Flowers make you feel creative and excited and full of curiosity and possibility. But what are the options when setting out to work with flowers, or to build a career or refine a career in floristry? What paths are available to take? And how do you know which one's right for you? In today's episode, we are going to dive into how to find the right path in floral artistry for you, refining and stepping into what you really want to do and where you'd really like to go. What are all the options? Where should you begin? How can you carve out a practice that is genuine and successful? How do you shape a creative practice that is authentic and aligned? I'm going to walk you through how to get crystal clear about what you actually want. What paths in floral artistry and shapes this work can take are available and possible for you. What tools will help you decipher which option or path is best, and what to do when you're inspired but you don't know where to start or what to do next. Also, how to step forward from where you are now and free yourself from fear or doubt into carving out a creative practice or a business that fills you up and feels in alignment with who you are and where you want to go. Let's start with the many paths of floral design. There are so many benefits to creating with flowers. Connecting with nature is peaceful and therapeutic. Having a creative outlet allows you to step into a mindful, meditative flow that helps you feel more present and that contributes to a more settled nervous system and a more peaceful mind. Creating with flowers can become a ritual that brings beauty and balance into your life. Plus, your floral designs brighten up your home and make beautiful gifts to share with your friends and your community. Anytime I have ever given someone flowers, whether it was an arrangement I really loved or just a simple bouquet pulled together from leftover flowers after a class or an event, the person has been delighted. It feels wonderful to give someone something that brings them that immediate joy. Now, if for some reason you're not sure whether or not you want to do flowers just for you or you want to do flowers for work, start out doing it just for fun. This is a great way to begin, and it will let you explore and build a creative practice before you put any pressure on your craft to generate income or support you financially. If, on the other hand, you know right away that you want to do flowers for work, start practicing for fun to begin anyway. Try things that intrigue you or excite you. Take a class or a workshop. Train the way you would train for a marathon or to learn to play the violin, with a plan, with patience, and with devotion. There are many ways to work with flowers, so let's look at these different paths. In some ways, it can seem like there are only two paths to choose from in floristry, either a flower shop selling flower stems and bouquets at a regular brick and mortar, or a floral design studio that creates floral arrangements for weddings. These two options are actually far from the only two, and they're also not mutually exclusive. For me, when I started out in floristry, I knew I didn't want a brick and mortar shop personally. I wanted the freedom and flexibility of being available by appointment only, and I knew that I wanted to start out on my own with what I had there and then, rather than looking into getting a loan and taking on the overhead of a rented space and hiring staff that I would need to run it. I just knew that I wanted autonomy and flexibility, and I also knew that I'm an ambitious and self-motivated person, so I would be okay starting this thing out on my own. I was inspired by the big, bright production work of weddings, and that was helpful for me to be able to get started. I also could feel even very early on that as someone who has pursued becoming an educator in pretty much everything I've ever studied, from writing and literature to yoga and floral design, that I would like to teach workshops too, to host others who want to learn a craft and discover their own path into flowers that I knew I would love to host. I definitely got sidetracked. And I definitely took on too much and had to pivot and make adjustments over the years. But the more clear I got about what I really loved and what I really wanted to do in floral artistry, the easier it became to shape a floral business that I love. Now, keep in mind, this is just the path that called to me. I have worked with many different floral designers, both established and just aspiring, who have different skill sets and callings, who know maybe that they work better on a team or that they would prefer to create flowers for home delivery subscriptions or anything like that. My point here is that there isn't one right way to work with flowers other than to know with clarity and honesty your own strengths, weaknesses, and true areas of interest. This is why the soul searching step is so helpful, but more on that in just a moment. Here is a little guide to several of the paths you can take in building a career path in floral artistry. This is not meant to be an exhaustive list, and I encourage you to add to it as you explore and open things up for yourself, but it's a good place to start. Also, side note, as I discovered floral artistry myself years and years ago, I remember thinking, and probably because I was a professor and an academic, I remember thinking I didn't know this was on the list of majors. And that made me think there should be some kind of list that describes what you can do with a quote-unquote major in floral artistry. There were things like that from the English department that I remember reading that said what you can do with an English major and gave different career paths, which was important. In the humanities, you kind of need some interpretation of what you can do with those skills in the practical career world. So for floral artistry, I've created this list, and again, it's not exhaustive, but it will give you some ideas of what you can do with this passion, with your training, with your interest in working with flowers. First, you have event floral design. That includes weddings, corporate events, brand activations where you work with other brands to create for their VIP events, and even things like conferences and working with DMCs or destination management companies. You also have celebration floral design. This would include parties, showers, bachelorettes, graduations, prom and homecoming. So many areas to specialize in as a floral artist. Then, of course, you have funeral and celebration of life floral designs. And then you've got your brick and mortar flower shop. This could offer daily flowers. This could be a flower shop and wedding floral design hybrid. This is a great idea. And I just mentored one of my mentees on this. It's such a helpful way to utilize flowers across those two parts of your business. You can also have a pop-up flower shop in retail areas that would be impermanent, but something you can do when you want to. You could have a farmer's market flower stand where you sell bouquets or flowers at the farmer's markets. And you can think about things like a flower truck or a flower cart. So many fun ideas. You can also think about subscription flowers, home deliveries, restaurants and cafes, hotels, boutique hotels. There are many different spaces where people want flowers on a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly basis. That could be great streams of revenue. Then you have floral workshops and education. Lots of people want to learn how to create with flowers and from so many different walks of life. You can teach the art of floral design to floral designers. You could bring the community together with community workshops that allow people that don't work with flowers to get to create something beautiful. You could offer in-studio workshops for groups. You could offer on-site workshops for groups, let's say with conferences or at workplaces. It's a great bonding experience for people in different workforces. You could go to elderly living facilities, things like that. You could also teach mentorships and private workshops, or even team up with other florists or creative to teach workshops that hybridize different skills like floral design and watercolor painting. Then you have floral artistry for commercial shoots and styling. You could do botanical styling for brand partnerships where maybe you're featuring certain beauty or wellness products and adding the floral into their photo shoots. You could do different brand partnerships with furniture companies or home goods companies to help with the styling of their spaces and their offerings, in which case you would work with commercial photographers. And lastly, there are so many different niche ideas too. You could partner with real estate agents who look for florists to specifically create flowers for their showings or as congratulation gifts for their clients. You could create flowers for galas or horse racing events, creating fascinators for women's hats. You could do flowers for fashion weeks, things like that. You could also find a design niche in dried floral designs and installations that are kind of everlasting and seasonal. You could also specialize in silk or faux flower designs and installations, which are actually great for long-term installations in retail spaces or at hotels. And you can even look into pressed or preserved floral designs. I've seen many floral designers turn flower bouquets into a flat lay and then pour lacquer over them and make these beautiful kind of stained glass designs working in pressed and preserved florals. So again, this is not an exhaustive list, and it's also not meant to overwhelm you. It's really our creative adventure in pulling open the possibilities for you to explore and find what lights you up, what excites you, which area is going to feel most authentic to you to build and give you an avenue of service for your floral design passion and your floral design work. You can also do just one of these things, or you could do a few of them. You could start with one and over time add others, then leave some behind, and mainly allow yourself over time in your creative venture to evolve as an artist and a business owner. You could also choose one thing the whole time and stay with it steadily without distraction. Any of these paths could be the right path if it feels right to you. Sometimes just knowing that it's actually up to you and that you can shape this thing to your own preferences is the most freeing and empowering thing of all. You do not have to be hard on yourself for not doing XYZ the same way you perceive others in our field doing XYZ. You don't have to try to fit someone else's mold or shape. You don't have to drain your energy worrying if you are doing it right. And you don't have to force yourself to stick to something with an iron fist if what your soul really craves is a chance to pivot and evolve. Remind yourself of this often on this journey of creative entrepreneurship. It will come in handy. There are many paths you could take in working with flowers. And the truth is that the right one is the one that thrills you and inspires you. Explore it, train for it, devote to it. Believe in yourself even before you have the skills to do it. And while you learn and hone your craft, practice it into being. This episode of the Called to Bloom podcast was brought to you by the Poetry of Flowers, holistic floral artistry courses that you can attend at your own pace from wherever you are in the world. As a poet and former professor of English, when I found myself called to work with flowers, it was a surprising pivot, even to me, but also an opportunity I hadn't realized before to channel what I studied and knew well into what I now wanted to do. Poetry is a framework, an art form created from language, sounds, and the meanings words carry that allows us to tell stories with emotion and depth. I found right away that flowers are the same. They are a language that we arrange into blooming experiences that invite lovers, guests, and gatherers to celebrate and that elevate life's most powerful moments and milestones. The Poetry of Flowers encapsulates all of the techniques, guidance, and advice that I teach in my workshops and mentorships into an educational experience that is accessible to all. Inside Poetry of Flowers, you will find a suite of a la carte course bundles on topics from how to begin in floristry, to bouquet designs, foam-free floral installation designs, to wedding design and production, and more. Get access to all course bundles with a Poetry of Flowers membership. Go to nectarandbloomfloral.com and head to the Courses tab to learn more. That's nectarandbloomfloral.com and head to Courses. And as a Call to Bloom listener, you can get 10% off your Poetry of Flowers holistic online course or membership with code CALLEDTOBLOOM, CALLEDTOBLOOM, one word, at checkout. And now back to our episode. So as we calibrate how to find the right path for you, we start with opening up the many paths in floral design that do exist, and we examine what excites you, as well as what is a definite no for you. Both are extremely helpful insights. Trust your gut. Now, I want us to look at a few common hangups and pitfalls that get in the way of stepping into creative and entrepreneurial alignment. That way you know what's coming and you know how to handle it so you can keep realigning and keep moving forward. First is what to do when you're inspired, but you don't know what to do next. Let's break this down. You're excited. You know what you want to try or build or add to your creative venture, but you are likely overwhelmed. My mom told me years ago to remember this saying: overwhelm is trying to do more than the next step. This is so true, and I've been so thankful for her reminding me of that. Overwhelm is not a fixed state. Although you can feel quite stuck in it, I can tell you, I've been there. If you use this saying, though, the important thing to do is to break down what you want to do into steps. If you're trying to take more than the next step, then the next step isn't clear. You're trying to do more than that. So if you're overwhelmed, what is the next step? Let's break it down. Let's say, for example, you want to start offering workshops as part of your floral business. What is the first step? I always like to create space for generative creative projects. So block off some time to dream up the workshop you would most love to create and offer. Write it all out. Make a mood board. List the experiences and details you would like to teach and offer your attendees. That's the first step, dreaming it up. If you don't know where to start, do some research. Look around at workshops others do and consider workshops you've attended. What made the experience something meaningful or effective or memorable for you? Make your best version. Once you have your vision, you can start assembling the pieces one step at a time. The same goes for any adjustment, pivot, or expansion. Let's look at the example of having a flower shop and wanting to start offering wedding floral design services. What are the steps? How can we make this not overwhelming? Well, let's see. First, you would need to outline your packages and services. What is it exactly that you want to offer? And how do you want to do it? Then you'll need to do a styled shoot or a brand shoot to intentionally capture images of the kinds of work that you want your future wedding clients to see that you can do. You will want to create a website page and a contact form to receive inquiries. And you'll also want to create a design proposal template that you can send to your prospective clients and have a legal agreement and contract made by a lawyer to make the booking process smooth and professional. Step by step, you will build the vision, the assets, the systems, and the experiences you want to offer that are in alignment. Just break them down and give them, and really yourself, enough space to ideate, to iterate, and to implement peacefully and professionally. If you're really stuck, reach out to a coach or a mentor to help you comb through your ideas and pin down a plan with actionable, manageable steps that will help you pace your progress and really get this new aligned expression of your creativity into motion. Next is getting clarity about what you really want. The visual arts world is seductive on purpose. Everything is beautiful. Everything looks exciting. Everything can start to look like what you could or feel like you should be doing. Maybe you feel like you should do or offer something in your business because it is the right thing or the thing you feel is expected of you. But this is actually an important moment to notice with caution and to stop and check in with yourself. We are not going for building someone else's business or someone else's dream. We are going for building the business and creative practice that lights you up and that feels aligned and joyous and meaningful for you. First step here, get rid of the shoulds. Anything that feels like I should do that carries a certain obligatory energy that you are kind of resisting in some way. Get curious. What is the resistance? Is it overwhelm? If so, go back to step 1 and break down what you need to do so that it's doable and doesn't feel like a should. Is the resistance actually because this idea, even if exciting, is not actually in alignment for you? Pay attention to this. If someone else is doing large-scale floral installations for big brand partnerships and you think you should be doing that too because it looks beautiful and successful, but you have this yucky should feeling, something's off. That might not be what you actually want to do. And that's really important for 2 reasons. 1, you will always have a harder uphill climb if you're forcing yourself to do something that is out of alignment for you. And 2, you will actually be distracted from other offerings or services that might really be in alignment and be something you love and do really well doing if you're caught up doing that thing that isn't actually in alignment for you. Next, you guessed it, make space to soul search. I talk about this a lot because it is not a step we can skip. Sometimes it's hard as creative entrepreneurs to balance the 2 aspects of this work. Creativity is inherently messy, free-spirited, generative, unpredictable, imaginative, and, if you've ever read Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way, frivolous. And that is such a good thing. We need that playful frivolity in order to imagine or conjure or channel something amazing or something new. On the other hand, entrepreneurship is running a business, and not a business with a set of standards and procedures ready for you, but one that you created yourself, which makes time and resources and organization really important for you to manage well so that you can build success and earn a profit. So what we need is to cultivate balance and harmony between these 2 energies. While your entrepreneurial side will argue that we need to make progress and stay on task, and who has the space for soul searching, your creative side will say, fine, I'm dead. So we need to help them work together in harmony. Creativity needs space, and creative entrepreneurship needs creativity in order to fuel the business. Just as a creative business needs that entrepreneurial organization, planning, and systems to make things sell and make things work. Balance and connection between these 2 parts of you goes a long way. Stay patient, curious, and open. A lot of this work is actually building trust with yourself, as well as learning where you need to delegate and get support too. Now, what about another common snag in our progress to alignment in our creative work? What about fear and doubt? Fear and doubt are essentially protector parts of ourselves. There's an amazing book that I highly recommend called No Bad Parts by Dr. Richard Schwartz that outlines a concept in psychology called internal family systems, or IFS, which explains that we all have many parts of self and that all are good, but that all need to be integrated. For our purposes here, knowing that fear and doubt are aspects of ourselves, myself very much included, that are trying to protect us is a good reframe. You don't need to give up in the face of your fear and doubt any more than you have to go to war with them to get after what you want to do. Instead, just listen. Turning inward is one of the most powerful tools I've ever come across, especially when I'm feeling anxious or dysregulated, and all I want to do is make some kind of outward progress so I can feel like I'm getting somewhere. When you turn inward, you can check in and consider with compassion and curiosity what these fears and doubts really are. I often do this through journaling. I allow the space on the page to be somewhere where I can explore and get curious about what is making me feel anxious or doubtful about myself. What is making me feel anxious or doubtful about what I need to do? And more often than not, the fears are just universal human concerns of not being good enough or not being ready. Listen in through this practice and find out, is there something you're doing or about to do that's going to put you in danger? What is the actual level of risk at hand? And if, for example, you start to do something like offer a la carte wedding packages or begin to brand yourself as a destination wedding floral designer who does events everywhere in the world? Are these fears and doubts coming up to point to financial strain or overburdening? And if so, listen to them and adjust your timeline. Adjust your plan so that you could do this realignment step with ease. But if the concerns are just about what if I'm not good enough or what if I fail, these are so normal and so universal that you can just have a benevolent little chat with yourself and these feelings and reinforce with yourself your sense of security in knowing that you can take your time, that you can build this step by step, and that everyone fears failure. So don't let that stop you. The only way you will fail is if you stop before you get there. So now I want us to bring it all together. Here's how to decipher which path is right for you or most aligned for you so that you can build the authentic floral practice or business you are uniquely here to create. 1, soul search and find what feels most exciting to you. Believe in your ability to get there even before you know how to do it. Know that the excitement you feel is your sign that this path is meant for you. 2, explore the options. Let yourself dream and feel your way into which one of the many shapes floral artistry can take feels most aligned or thrilling or inspiring to you. Which path allows you to draw on your gifts and passions and interests the most? If you're like me years ago, you might find that the thing you really want to do most of all, you're putting on some kind of pedestal that you can't reach. And all you really need to do is give yourself permission. Why bother using this beautiful life force that you have doing something that is not in alignment for you, especially when you are choosing a career path in a field of artistry, when you could give yourself the chance, maybe finally, as I did finally for myself, to do what really is calling to you, to create with flowers in the way that feels most authentic to you. 3, shed the shoulds. These are mostly just distractions and an opportunity to check in and reaffirm your trust in yourself. So much of creative entrepreneurship is a channel and an opportunity for interpersonal growth, which then reflects outwardly in everything you do. 4, break it down. If you feel overwhelmed about where to start, break it down into steps. Break those steps down into smaller steps. Then organize the steps to make a sense for what should be done first, and just do the next step and then keep going. All great accomplishments are achieved by small steps consistently made over time. That is the way you're going to get there. 5, trust in your abilities and the vision you have through the fears and doubts. Don't go to war with yourself when you feel fears and doubts coming up. Listen to what is actually making you feel anxious and evaluate whether it's an actual concern to adjust for or whether it's just a common human concern or insecurity that's asking you to see and heal it by courageously, slowly, lovingly moving through it in your creative work. And 6, give yourself the opportunity to try and the space to step into this aligned expression of your creativity. Even if it takes time, you will be so glad you did. The things in life that you create that will be the most impactful and the most meaningful are going to be the things that are aligned with you and aligned with your values. Lots of good food for thought and tools in this episode. I hope that you've enjoyed this exploration of what is really underneath finding a way into alignment in your floristry practice. Floral artistry is a huge field to explore, and there is no one single path you have to follow. While this can be frustrating for those who want a clear path forward into a life working with flowers, the expansiveness of that opportunity is actually something that can give you the chance to create something aligned instead of something that feels prescribed. And for others who don't want to feel confined by one expression or a homogeneous method for working with flowers, this is going to give you that flexibility and the tools to support you in believing in yourself as you move through the obstacles that are inherent to stepping forth courageously into your path and your calling. For me, creative entrepreneurship is not just about starting the thing or making my own version of what I've seen other people do. It's really about finding myself and the service that I'm here to create. And that's what I want for you. I want you to feel like you have the tools and the opportunity and the skills and the support to step into what you truly want to do and to find your way and navigate skillfully when aspects of the work you've taken on start to feel stagnant or start to feel confining or start to feel out of alignment. That's okay. That is a beautiful sign to you to slow down, check in, soul search, investigate, break down the steps and figure out what it is that's actually calling to you and make your small movements and small steps toward that pivot or toward that realignment. That is how you are going to find your way into floral artistry work that feels aligned and rewarding and is sustainable for you as well. I am so excited for you as you build and refine this creative venture. And I'm excited to meet you again in the next episode where we will dive into how to leverage your background, passions, and previous areas of expertise to expand your floral business offerings. I can't wait to open this up with you so that you can look into the actual treasure trove of skills and expertise and passions and areas of wherewithal that you have that can help you to shape this business into something successful and meaningful and thrilling for you. Beautifully done. You just completed another episode of Called to Bloom. And I don't know about you, but I really think that finishing any resource that nourishes my being and makes me feel more connected feels so good. Now, to expand your experience, hit follow so you never miss an episode. And also head over to calledtobloom.podcast.com for show notes, discount codes, and details from our sponsors. If you are ready to deepen your practice with classes and immersive experiences in floristry and well-being, head over to nectarandbloomfloral.com and explore my workshops, one-on-one mentorships, Poetry of Flowers holistic online education courses, well-being experiences, and my original Tarot of Flowers deck. You can also find me on Instagram at Nectar and Bloom for more inspiration, tools, creativity, and like-minded community. For now, keep blooming. The world needs what you are here to create.